Hi folks, I did not mean to start it with the table camera on. How are we all doing? Is everybody doing okay? We are now live. It's kind of dark in this room, but it's showing up okay on the camera. But I'm one of these people where if I start out with the light okay, it can get progressively and progressively darker, and I don't really notice it as much. So if it gets really dark, if you notice it getting really dark, then shout at me to put on a light, and I will. Um, but yeah, how is everyone? Are we all doing okay? I've been sitting shuffling the queer tarot, this guy, and it's blooming hard to riffle shuffle, by the way. Like, these cards are thick and like quite sturdy. They're not very malleable. That's even the right word to use. So like when you're riffle shuffling it, it's quite hard on your hands. I don't know if any of the riffle shufflers in the room have got it and have found that, but I don't know. It's maybe I just need to break it in and it'll be fine after a while. But yeah, I thought I would since it's we're in June and it's Pride Month. Happy Pride Month, everyone. I thought uh, I would grab the queer tarot because why not? Let me say hi to all the lovely people that are here. So Redwing is the person whom I can see first. Hi Redwing, how are you doing? Redwing is in Edinburgh. Is that right? Uh, Simon from the Hermit's Cave is here. Hi Simon, how are you? And I've got the lovely Deanne from Blue Crescent Tarot. I've been chatting to Deanne throughout the day. Um, but it's lovely to see you here. How are you doing? Rachel, or do you prefer Ray or Rachel? Ray, Rachel, Ray, anyway, is your handle on YouTube. It's lovely to see you. I hope you're doing okay. Patsy's here. Hi, Patsy. How are you? Robert Wells is here. Someone else who, if I remember correctly, you're from Scotland as well. I think we were chatting about this. Gosh, when were we chatting about this? I can't remember. It was on one of the lives, wasn't it? It might actually be when I was live with Ross, Ross Salerno. So the um, the new voice tarot, it only got to about 70% of the target of what he was aiming to raise, but he said that he's still going to be putting a, he's still going to be making the deck and sending it out to the people that have backed it. So he's still going to kind of fulfill those orders. So that's a really kind of a positive thing, I guess. So yeah, just so as everyone knows, I guess. Um, let's see, Redwing likes my t-shirt. Thank you very much. That's quite cool. This was from River Island. What are we all drinking, by the way? I have got a toffee latte from McDonald's. Me and Sandy ran out to McDonald's, not ran, literally ran, but we drove out to McDonald's. It's just 5 minutes round the corner. And got I got a toffee latte and a Whisper Gold McFlurry. Whisper Gold, I don't know if you guys will have them in the States. Um, it's a kind of a chocolate with kind of like Aero, and it's got caramel through it. It's beautiful. Deanne's giving us all the loves. Apparently, some of your hearts have been turned into wee boxes, though. What's that about? Strange, isn't it? Oh, he's had enough of me. Never, never in a million years would I say that. Yep, in Edinburgh, enjoyed the sunshine at the Meadows Festival last weekend. Oh, good. I'm glad you had sunshine. It has been beautiful weather, hasn't it? Um, my friend came over and we went out and walked Luna, my dog, yesterday, around the loch, and we sat on the bench for a while. And we're just chatting. Um, and I've ended up like getting slightly sunburnt. You can't really see it, I don't think, but yeah, I'm slightly red. It's actually not so bad today. It was worse this morning and last night. I noticed it. Um, just 'cause I never, I know it's bad, but I never thought to put anything on because it didn't feel like it was really that. The sun wasn't intense and it didn't feel hot. It was like, see that, I suppose that's when the sun's most deadly, isn't it? When you have these nice cool breezes keeping you cold, but the sun's obviously shining right onto you. So my bad, very irresponsible of me. So you get called Ray and Rachel. Um, oh, that's fine. I'll alternate between the two then. How about that? That's a good thing about not doing it via Kickstarter, as Kickstarter is all or nothing. Yeah, do you know, I've not, I don't think I've mentioned this, on YouTube yet, but Sandy, my husband, had backed a deck on Kickstarter for me, as a present for me. I still actually don't know what it was, but it was successful, but it was a scam. Um, it's turned out that they've not fulfilled the orders, and I think there's been several people that have been kind of a questioning it. Um, and Sandy got in touch with Kickstarter, and they've said there's nothing they can do because it's the backer's responsibility type thing, which is a bit shit if I'm honest. And I just feel kind of bad for him because obviously he was trying to do something really nice, and it was a really thoughtful and kind thing that he was doing, and it's bit him on the ass, you know. So yeah, it was a wee shame. But yeah, that was our last experience with Kickstarter. So he's burnt his bridges with Kickstarter. He's like, I'm never touching Kickstarter again. So I just hope that there's there's no decks that I really want that are going to come out on Kickstarter. Um, Not been to River Island in years, says Robert. Do you know, it's not somewhere that I shop often, if I'm honest. Most of my clothes had been coming from Primark for a long, long time because my husband worked there. But yeah, I think we got this when just before we went on holiday in November just passed. We decided to go and get some nice t-shirts and stuff for holiday. And this was one of the ones that I got. Love a good Whisper Gold, says Ray. Yeah, me too. I love like anything caramel chocolate is a weak spot for me. Oh my god, don't look at the sin value. Don't worry, I won't. It was Sandy's birthday on Monday, so we're taking a week off. So we are. Will I probably put on all of the weight that I've lost in the previous 2 weeks since I started again? Yes. Do I care? Yes. Am I going to tell anyone that I care? No. So it's all good. We don't have that. It sounds delicious. Yeah, it's good. Really good. Whisper Gold. Um, a day early, a dollar short. A day early? Tell me it's not. No, no, it's Thursday. It is Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday, Rob. For a split second though, you had me think because I'm off this week, so it would be just like the thing for me to get lost with the days and go live on Wednesday instead of Thursday, and yeah, that would just be something that I would do. But thankfully not in this instance. I think we're the only part of the UK where it's cool, says Patsy. Still waiting for the summer. See, it's been nice summery weather here, I have to admit. Even now, when it's like well late into the night, but not the night, but late into the evening, there's still beautiful blue skies, lovely clouds. There's a nice cool breeze outside, but I could go out and I maybe wouldn't go out in just my t-shirt, mind you, but I could go out in a hoodie and I would be fine. Oh, Robin's a day behind. It's Thursday and I'm still living in Wednesday. Cheyenne's here. Hi, Cheyenne. How are you doing? Hope all are well on this day. Nice to be here with you all. Cheyenne, I've been watching some of your YouTube videos. I might have neglected to leave a wee comment actually, so I'll apologise for that right now. I will comment at some point along the way, but I had I'd sent one of my friends a message and said, um, I'm hoping they don't take this. I'm sure you won't. So does anyone know Elle from Sacred Seed? So Elle from Sacred Seed is one of like the oldies but goodies. You know, she's an old channel, doesn't make content anymore. We've not seen her in years. But the content that she made was absolutely fantastic, and everybody raves about Elle, and everyone wonders if she's doing well and wishes that she would kind of come back and make more content. But when I listen to you, Cheyenne, I think you sound like Elle from Sacred Seed. There's a similar kind of a I don't know, it's just the kind of a vibe and the energy that I get off you. Um, you've always got to compare when you be careful when you're comparing people to people, haven't you? It's probably not something that very tactful to say out loud, but I'm not always the most tactful. But that was very much a compliment. I hope that came across. Um, oh, what are we? What are we shocked faced at? Oh, the Kickstarter thing. Yeah, I know. Robin says, I bought a tarot ring on Etsy, saw it on Three Girls, Three Decks. It's a black metal splinter with three rings encompassing the majors, the suits, and rank. Nice. Very nice. Hi, Jonathan. I caught some of your live with Thomas, and really enjoyed it. He seems like a lovely guy. A Kickstarter is such a gamble, yeah. I know. I've not. Have I had a bad experience? No, I've not, because the only other kind of I suppose, on the shittier end of the spectrum was there was I think it was a Lord of the Rings deck that was being kind of made, and I backed it, but it kind of stopped before the end or something, so it never took my money basically. Um, because I think they had given the impression they created a load of the cards and they hadn't. So there was still a good bit of the deck to be made. Excuse me, to be made. Yeah, that was a bit of shit, but at least it didn't kind of scam me out any money. Robert's favourite is a twirl. It's like a flake, but without the mess. Yeah, that's a good point. Hi, Debbie. How are you? And Pamela, how are you doing? Not back to work until Monday. Neither am I. I have been off since, strictly speaking, since a week ago, since last Thursday. But I did sign on the Friday and do a couple of hours work, just because I had work coming out my ears. So, um, yeah, speaking of which, actually, so yeah, I've been off on holiday for a week for Sandy's birthday. Speaking of which, I mentioned this during Jonathan's live, but I had yesterday, and I think it might have actually been the day before, but I've been playing with the Spirit Within tarot, um, Stephen Bright's deck, which let me just quickly show you. It's a lovely deck to work with. I have edged mine in black. It's actually now looks more kind of a silvery greyish, dark grey, but yeah, I edged it in black to go with the backgrounds. But the cards are these it's silhouettes, so it's something different, and it's quite a nice kind of a dynamic to bring into a tarot deck, I think, and it reads quite well for me. But I asked it, how is my first week back at work going to be, or how's my week going to be after being off on holiday? And I definitely get the Five of Swords. I might have got the Seven of Swords as well. Anyway, it wasn't good. So she's been put back on the shelf, for her cheek, and that's where she can stay until she learns her lesson, even though she's probably just telling the truth. Really sunny here the last few days, says Simon. The weekend is going to be a scorcher. That's good. Um, we were supposed to have Luna, my dog. She was supposed to go in to get neutered, to get spayed today. But last night she was up through the night with diarrhea, and she was a wee bit sick as well. Although we think the sickness was maybe because she like nibbles and like tears things apart, and our bed, which is now going in the bin, got a new one. She's kind of ripped a hole in it and got some of the stuffing out it. She does that with all her toys as well. And I don't know if she's maybe eaten a wee bit of the stuffing and brought that up. So I wasn't so much worried about the being sick, but it was the diarrhea. So we took her in this morning anyway, to have her checked over and stuff. And the vet says, it's better just, putting it off. You don't want to be putting her under anaesthetic when she's maybe got a wee bug or something. So the poor wee soul, she's well, she's probably done it on purpose, the wee shite. Poor wee soul, nothing. But yeah, she's come back home and she's not gone in for a reoperation today. So she's going in on Monday instead. Um, but it just means that so we were going to have like the weekend, so we would have had the rest of today because we would have picked her up at about 4 o'clock today. We would have had the rest of today. We would have all day tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, basically just being with her and giving her our full attention. And now she's got to go in for it when we're at work, when we're working. So I'm a wee bit worried about that, and might need to speak to my work and see if I can take some days or something to be with her. But I mean, we'll be with her anyway. We both work from home, but that way I'm just really paranoid. I would want to be watching her like a hawk, even though she'll probably be fine. But I'm a, uh, I'm one of these dog people now. I'm one of these weird dog dads. She's my wee girl. Red Wing says cold northeast wind and a bit dreich here. Let's see, it's all right. It's nice. Um, Robert says it does not feel like that. It does not feel that hot though, unless it's just me. Um, let's see. Oh, Robert's in Bedfordshire. Oh, I thought you were in Scotland, Robert. My mistake. Sorry. Ray. Oh, loves a twirl. I used to love Cadbury Spira too. I don't remember Spira. Um, unless no, because Cadbury's is British, isn't it? So, hmm. Cheyenne. Oh, it's a huge compliment. That's good. That's good. Well, you've got quite a soothing voice. It's nice to listen to. Just that it puts me in mind of Elle. So I'm glad it's been taken as a compliment. Um, I walked home from work today and almost melted, says Simon. Geez, oh, good for you though, walking home. That's some good body magic, some good exercise. We've been out a few walks with the dog, so we have. So a couple of walks around the graveyard, um, and a big long walk yesterday, as I'd said when my friend was over. Uh, I will be mostly. Oh, Sandra's here. Sorry, Sandra. I didn't see you come in, but I can see everyone saying, "There you are." Hi, Sandra. So where is it? I'll be mostly listening today, not typing. Not a great day for me, but wanted to say hi and listen in. Well, lots of love to you, Sandra. Sorry you're not having a great day. And I hope that you've got someone you can speak to about it. And if you don't, then send me a wee message, send me a wee glide if you've still got me in glide. And we can have a wee catch up. But yep, sending lots of love. I did my first reading with Insomnia Tarot yesterday, says Robert. Nice. How was it? Did it work for you? Was that a nice deck to work with? Insomnia Tarot. I don't. The name doesn't ring a bell. But I'd be interested to see it and see if you know, see if I recognise it. Um, you're within walking distance of work. That's one of the reasons that I picked my job, says Robin to Simon. Mm, nice. No, I'm definitely. So my work changed our location whilst we were in lockdown. Um, they changed it from so it was just essentially just round the corner. About if I remember rightly, it was an 8-minute drive. When you put it into Google Maps in the morning, bearing in mind I drive to work at like 6 in the morning, but it was about an 8-minute drive, if I remember right, from here. But now they've moved us out to Eurocentral, which, to be fair, is only a 15-minute drive, but it's right up the motorway, so it's a lot further. You're just driving mostly motorway. for me, so it's not that much a difference for me, but it's just it's a bit naff because now they're wanting us to come in, not wanting us, we are, or they're making us come in 2 days a week, or well, 50% of our week. So, I mean, like I say, for me, it's no really much difference. It's 8 minute drive or 15 minute or 10, 15 minute drive. But yeah, it's just I think it's for others, it's a lot more difficult to get out there, and the cost of petrol nowadays is so much higher. So it's not an easy ask. I have a deck from a Kickstarter that was cancelled. Not sure what to do with it. As in, you still got the deck? That's unusual, isn't it? Um, Deanne is just subbed to Cheyenne. Excellent. Um, Simon sent to Robin, we've got 6 sites. The furthest one is 50 miles away. The closest is a 7 minute walk away. That's nice. Um, let's see. Base is the closest one, but the team is spread out, so I'm on the road quite a bit. Yeah, Luna is. She's just playing up. Oh gosh, I'm quite far behind, aren't I? I'll try and like kind of go quickly. So just had someone show up at my door. I'll try and come back in a few minutes. That's fine. You take your time, Jonathan. Um, Hope she's better soon. Yeah, she's got like paste stuff. She's got like kind of like medicine-y stuff to stop the diarrhea. I reckon it was just something she ate, to be honest with you. She's probably fine. Yeah, Robin, I doting dog dad. Um, you're welcome, Sandra. It was a good read. It was a deck interview read, as I've never used it before. Nice. Oh, and it looks like I've reached the bottom of the chat, which is quite nice. So I thought, I don't know if very many of you have seen it, but I posted in the Barely Balanced Facebook group today. Let me just open up the post again on my screen here, or on my phone, because I'd been thinking like, so we say that the tarot is it represents the human experience, right? It represents it across the board. It shows the entire human experience, and that's why it works so well, and it's such a good tool. And for lots of people, that is the reason why it works, because it does. These images and the meanings that we assign to them are the human experience. So I thought, well, that being the case, like, what if we flip it on its head? What if we start thinking about particular scenarios or feelings, emotions, scenarios, incidents, events? What if we think about things and think, right, how would the tarot show that to us? You know, rather than looking at the tarot and extracting the meaning, the feeling, the event, whatever it may be. Why don't we flip it round and have a conversation about different things, like how would the tarot show us this? So the one that I posted about today, I'm struggling actually to find my post, so let me just concentrate on it a wee bit. Here we go. Um, so the thing that I mentioned today was jealousy. That was what I kicked it off with. All right. So jealousy is probably something that we've all had to deal with at one point or another, whether it's jealousy within ourselves, or whether it's you've kind of had to deal with you've been on the brunt end of someone else's jealousy. It's probably something that all of us as human beings have had to deal with. So I thought, right, well, that being the case, you would expect jealousy to come up. You would expect it to come up in tarot readings. Like if you're doing a Celtic cross, it might come up as the basis, the reason for a particular issue that a person's asking about. Um, or maybe it might come up in the past, or whatever you would expect it to be able to kind of come up clearly in a tarot reading. So the question was, well, what card or cards would we what card would you say embodies or symbolizes jealousy? What card would come up and you would get jealousy from it? And obviously, I appreciate that this is, well, for one, it's a very individual thing. It might be will be different cards for different people. I appreciate that I'm intellectualizing, and tarot is a very kind of a intuitive process for most of us. Lots of us will get different things from different cards depending on how they come up and when they come up and how we're feeling at the time and all that. So I do appreciate all of that. I appreciate that I'm kind of turning it into an intellectual exercise, but I do think that it's quite useful to think about these things, to think about, like, right, okay, well, how would that come up to me? Because it broadens our understanding of the tarot. So it means that the next time we do a reading, if that comes up, that might be something that you think about that you maybe wouldn't have before. So that's the reason why I thought, well, why don't we have a conversation about it? So, well, that said, jealousy. How do we think that jealousy might come up in the tarot? Now, initially, when I was thinking about it for myself, I thought, well, what about the devil? And then I thought, is that a cop out? Am I just saying, right, well, the devil can probably represent any negative, emotion or feeling, or any negativity, I feel as though there's like a mark on my face, just the way my moustache is. Um, am I just, so is assigning that to the devil a bit of a cop out? Um, but then I think it was Derek John Thomas said something really interesting. He mentioned the devil, but he linked it to the idea of attachment. You know, Jealousy is often to do with that attachment, that unhealthy attachment, and that unhealthy attachment is the devil. I wouldn't say that that's a cop out. So I actually thought that was really interesting. What I also found interesting though was there was lots of people mentioning reverse cards. Um, oh well, maybe this card reverse would mean that, which is absolutely 100%. But it's just interesting because when we are talking on TarotTube and when I've been doing readings like in groups or when I've done readings for people and stuff, and when I've seen readings on YouTube, I could probably count on one hand the amount of times I've actually seen people on TarotTube using reverse cards. Most of us tend to use, you know, when we're doing readings, most of us tend to use upright only. And correct me if I'm wrong, if that might just be my impression. So I found it interesting that there was kind of some reversal suggestions, and yet I was like, but if most of us aren't using, you know, reversals, would we then be able to get that? Are we limiting the kind of stuff that we're able to get from the cards? Um, let's see. Beth from Aspasia Rising's here. Hi Beth, how you doing? Um, Deanne says, I do that as I'm falling asleep a lot. Think of which cards would illustrate a scenario. Right, that's quite cool. See, I think it's quite a good wee exercise. Let's see. Robin says jealousy, the devil. Beth says, I might see jealousy in the traditional lovers card. Interesting. Do you know, someone else said that, Beth. Um, let's see. Danny said the Marseille lovers card just because there's there's the two individuals and one is having to pick between the two, so you can naturally understand how there'd be an element of jealousy to that. So that's quite cool. Robin says the tower. Patsy said the Four of Pentacles. Did someone mention that? Yeah. Oh wait, no, Diane, you said the Four of Cups. Sure, someone said the Four of Pence as well. Um, I think it might be Derek. Possibly Justice, says Robin. Diane had said the Queen of Swords, the Four of Cups, and the Seven of Swords. Beth says the devil is a cop out. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. The devil definitely could be jealousy, depending on the question or concern and context, as easy as it is to read. Yep, absolutely fair enough. That's a absolutely fair comment. The Three of Swords, yes, Robin. Yeah, definitely with that kind of a, I suppose the heart with the Solabusca type Three of Swords, I could see as jealousy because you might read that as like betrayal or sorrow, which jealousy could be linked to. Right, I feel as though it's definitely getting dark here. I'm going to turn on this lamp. Beth says the Queen of Swords is kind of the Hera of the Queens. Laurie is here. Hi, Laurie. How are you doing? We're just talking about generally we're talking about how tarot might represent certain feelings, emotions, situations, like specifically we're talking about jealousy. So, how would you expect your tarot to, you know, depict jealousy to you? So, say the tarot wanted to, you were doing a Celtic cross, and the tarot wanted to say, right, the basis, the reason for this situation, what's at the very core of it, is jealousy. What card would you expect to be in that position? Deanne said, right, I don't use reversals, so I was answering for upright only, and did say in my comment that it would depend on surrounding cards. Yep, yeah, you did. Robin says the Eight of Swords. Okay, interesting. Tell me more, Robin. Tell me more about that. How would the Eight of Swords like? Is there a? I suppose there doesn't have to be a reason, a rationale behind it. But if there is, I'm very interested to know. Um, Zane from Tarot Token Witchery's here. Hi, Zane. How are you? Derek said the Four of Pence, right? Yeah. Okay. I get that because it's kind of like you're hanging on to, you're hanging on to stuff. You're overly attached. That goes back to the idea of attachment. You're not wanting to. Um, do you know actually what this puts me in mind of? So Star Wars Episode 3, the um Revenge of the Sith. Wow, that took me far too long to think of. Um, Anakin's having visions of Padme dying, and he goes to Master Yoda, who's the Jedi Grand Master, and says, "Right, I'm having these visions. They're causing me trouble. What do I do?" And Yoda says, "Well, you need to train yourself to let go of everything that you fear to lose." He says, "Attachment leads to jealousy, the shadow of greed." That is. And he says, "What do I do, Master Yoda?" And he says, "Train yourself to let go of everything that you fear to lose." So that idea of attachment and jealousy being linked, and that idea of the solution being to let go. And quite often when we see that Four of Pentacles come up, we want to tell the wee chap in that card, you need to let go. It's not healthy to constantly hang on to all these attachments. So, yep, I get it. It's a, it's definitely a very cool answer. Beth says, in the traditional lovers card, I can see Zeus, an Aphrodite type, and a real pissed off Hera. Robin says, the Three of Swords makes me think of a love triangle. Did anyone ever watch a program called Sunset Beach? Uh, there was a there was a tarot reader in it called Madame Carmen, and basically there's a girl in it, Gabby, who is, I think she's engaged to one of Carmen's sons, Ricardo, but she has she sleeps with uh, Ricardo's brother, Carmen's other son, who's a priest. Um, so there's a love triangle with him, and like obviously Carmen for a good length of time in the series can't stand Gabby because she can see in the cards that she's doing this to her sons. Um, so there's a good bit of it where she just can't stand her, but after all of that kind of when I suppose when everyone's not made up, but when the dust is settled, Carmen is reading for Gabby and she does pull the three of swords and she says like, this is you and these are my two sons. So she talks about that being that kind of a love triangle thing. Um, but I don't know if anyone's ever seen Sunset Beach. It was on Channel 5 over here in the UK, like back in the 90s or something. But it was one of the first times that I seen Taro. So it was. And because it had Taro in it, I was like, oh, I want to watch this. I'd be interested to know if anyone else has seen it actually. That would actually be cool. That would make my night. Henna needs it all. Hiya. We're being joined. You want to pop up and say hi? Want to jump up? You want to come up and say hello? This is Luna. This is the troublemaker. Sure, yeah. Sure, yeah. Right, go get that. Never mind them. Um, yeah, Hera needs it all, says Diane. The Seven of Swords wanting what someone else has got. Yeah, right, okay, okay, says Ray. Let's face it, Diane, Hera had a right to be a bitch all the time. Very bad marriage. I guess without divorce court, depended on revenge. Oh, here we go. Right, Robin says the Eight of Swords. Can you be consumed or trapped by your own sense of jealousy or betrayal? Okay, right. Yeah, that idea definitely it definitely warps the way you think and the way you feel, doesn't it? That's the reason jealousy is such a poisonous thing, I think, is it completely warps your sense of not to be dramatic, but it does kind of warp your sense of reality a wee bit, doesn't it? And it really affect if you let it, it can really affect your relationships with other people and how you see those other people and everything that you know like it can make you really paranoid, I think. I'm speaking from experience, by the way. I'm not. Excuse me. She's in here doing her nosy. Um, so yeah, I get what you're saying, Robin. That kind of idea of feeling trapped and caged in. I feel that maybe the Eight of Swords and my Four of Cups could be for similar reasons, like pouting, says Diane. Tony's here. He says, hi, Chris and all. I'm nearly caught up on topic. Jealousy would be Dark Mansion Lovers card specifically. I think that's why I use it for relationships. Nice, okay. For sure, Beth says, Deanne, I was talking about Hera. The Eight of Swords could be being bound and constrained by a jealous person, right? Okay, so seeing it from the other person's point of view. Okay. Um, so Beth likes that with regards to the Seven of Swords. It can have so many meanings. Yeah, it definitely can. Definitely. Um, I see the Seven of Swords as being more. I mean, for me, when it comes up in a reading, when I pull it, it tends to be more talking about. It's asking the person to think about how they're going about a particular situation. They need to take a different approach because the approach that they're taking isn't working. They need to be a wee bit more crafty, and maybe think outside the box and come up with an unusual solution to a problem. Um, that to me is what's at the core of the Seven of Swords. and where you can see that as the kind of a the dishonesty, that kind of a being crafty and kind of coming up with a different way of tackling the problem. Maybe some would take that and interpret that as like, all right, okay, I need to steal. I think what we see in the Smith oh 08 Seven of Swords is there's like an encampment, and he's taken away all of their. It's the enemy encampment, and he's infiltrated it during the night, and he's taken away all of their swords. He's disarmed them because he knows that he can't beat them head on. So he takes away all their swords. So there is that element of stealing and dishonesty to it. But there's also that kind of that craftiness, that cleverness, deviousness. That's even a word. Robert says uh, Buddhism, Buddhist concepts help me with attachment. Um, the brother combo, never a good idea, says Diane. Oh, right, okay. That was when I was talking about Sunset Beach, wasn't it? Brothers, betrayal, soothsayers, biblical. Robert's saying hi to Luna. C. McMillan is saying evening. Oh, hi C. How are you? Puppers. Tony's laughing at Sunset Beach. Um, oh, thank you, Red Wing and C. McMillan. She's a gorgeous girl, and she knows it too. She uses it to get away with not quite murder, but she uses it to get away with stuff. Jealousy warps your sense of self-worth. That's the worst damage of it all, in my opinion, says Beth. Yep, definitely. To depict jealousy, would you need more specific questions for the cards? I mean, I guess the way that I put it, Tony, was like what I was saying was like if you had asked um, a particular question, whatever that question might be, maybe you're asking about a relationship, or maybe you're asking like, what's going, why is there a particular block here? I don't know. Whatever the question might be, you're pulling a Celtic cross, and say the thing that's at the base of it all, the basis cards, the kind of a thing that's feeding everything, that's feeding the situation, is jealousy, is a jealous situation. What card might you expect to turn up in that position that would tell you, all right, okay, I feel as though there's maybe like a jealous situation going on here that's feeding into this, that's causing this, that's at the root of this. Seven of Swords feels more to me like cheating in a relationship than jealousy. Um, what about the Five of Wands, says Tony? Idea of competitiveness. Yeah, I can see it. Um, the Seven of Swords is a two-edged sword, no pun intended. It can be deceit. It can also be preservation or resourcefulness. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe the Two of Cups with the Seven of Swords, says Tony. So kind of a comment bringing in combinations now. The sevens do feel so big to me, hence my choice of the Chariot and major favourites. Yeah, definitely. I was at so see to me sevens is where you're outside your comfort zone, whether you've put yourself there or whether someone else has put you there. Seven for me is the number where we're pushing out. That's where we're outside our comfort zone, whether you're looking at it as that three and four, that growth from stability. Whether you're looking at it as you've got the harmony of the six and then you're pushing beyond into unknown realms. Whatever it is, to me, the sevens are I'm uncomfortable here. I'm outside my comfort zone. And sometimes that can be a good stimulating challenge. Sometimes it can be a kind of a negative thing. So for me, sevens definitely just in general, the number seven could, jealousy could be in that realm just because of what we were saying. Jealousy does kind of it warps your sense of reality. It does take you right outside of yourself, and it kind of warps your sense of self and your sense of your environment and other people around you. So the seven feels like a good number to represent it. And I was thinking, right, well, it's a jealousy's a it's a psychological thing, but it's an emotional thing as well. So swords or cups. Um, and I think I'm actually leaning more weirdly towards the Seven of Cups now. I know that looking at that Seven of Cups, that's not a jealous image. I know that we don't traditionally read it as jealousy. Um, but just when I break it down and I think about it, just forgetting what I know before and just thinking about it numerologically and elementally, the Seven of Cups kind of feels to me like it might be a good contender as well. Um, and I know that's weird, but hopefully, the fact that I've explained how I've explained how I got there, you'll kind of oh look at this next comment. I think the Seven of Cups could also portray. I swear, I had not seen that. I had to I hadn't seen that before I started going off on all that rant. I promise. The Seven of Cups could portray jealousy if someone is eyeing your abundance and being salty about it, and having delusional thoughts about what you might have in comparison to themselves. Right, okay, so yeah, the Seven of Cups, we often see it as the kind of a illusion and fantasy type card, don't we? So from that point of view as well, that idea of being, eluded or deluded, you know, of not being quite in uh and you're having your usual sense of self, um, that does kind of a fit in that way. Interesting. Great minds think alike, Cheyenne. That one crossed my mind too. Hershey, the shadow reader, says hello everyone. Hi Hershey, lovely to see you. We'll get Heather from Indigo Jaguar. Hi Heather, how are you? Um, let's see, we're saying hello. 4:44 for Heather. So let's see, that would have been a couple of minutes ago. So you're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you're in Eastern Daylight Time, same time as Deanne and Robin and lots of people that are probably here. Whereabouts are you, Heather, in the world? Yep, stuff gets real in the seven, says Deanne. The sevens are difficult cards in my mind. There always seems to be some struggle involved, even if it's just a passive struggle. The Chariot and three other suits could take me out of my comfort zone, but not sure about the Seven of Pentacles. I don't see it there. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, so see if you look at the Golden Dawn associations, the the seven of coins or seven of pentacles or discs is defeat, I'm sure, or failure. Let me see if I can. Where's my Thoth deck? Or even New Era Elements, because that's got the keywords at the bottom. But yeah, the seven of, oh gosh, they're not in order. Six of Earth. Seven of Earth is failure. When you look into that deeper, I think it's basically like it talks about situations when you're basically the output, what you're getting out of whatever you're doing doesn't reflect the amount of work that you're putting in. So you're putting in all this work, but you're getting very little reward for it. And when you think about that and you look at the Smith Way image, you can actually see that in the image. That could well be what it was intended to portray. Given that, Pixie and Way were Golden Dawn, um, they were in the Golden Dawn and they were kind of immersed in that system. That could well be what that depiction was meant to be. But I think over time we've kind of seen it more as you know, work the thing that you're working on it and it's taking time and stuff. But I think traditionally the seven of coins is, basically you're putting in a lot of effort and you're getting very little reward for it. So in a manner, it's a well, the key word, like I say, the key word is failure. So it's just something to think about. And you know that could maybe correlate more with the idea of sevens being that more difficult number. We still need to set a date and a time. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and it's totally me. I need to email you back, don't I, Heather? In fact, that's my task for before I go back to work. Is I need to get in touch with you and we need to set a date and time because I'm sure you've said that you're pretty much free most times. So it's just me um, not being very good at getting back to people. If fruit is rotten on the vine in the seven of pence, that could be overwhelming and move someone out of their comfort zone. It does seem the least worrisome of the other three suits for sure. Yeah. Um, the taking it back to the growth from stability, when you look at the Marseille seven of coins, see, will I have a Marseille that's in order? Um, and you compare it to this. Oh, this is good. Right, 7 and 6. So well, actually, no, the 6 is different from what I thought it was going to be. But when you look at the Marseille 7 of coins, so you have like these two, and the two up at the top, and you can imagine them forming a kind of a nice defined path. Um, but then this seventh one in the center, it just kind of throws things off a wee bit. It throws off the horizontal symmetry of the card. It kind of just makes things feel a wee bit uneven. Um, and so kind of if you're imagining this as being a path, then it's an obstacle in that path. But the idea is you use it so that you can see the plants are kind of they kind of hit that stopping point, but then they start growing around it, and they can actually then use that as an anchor to push above. So it's this idea of like pushing yourself out your comfort zone, and that's what these kind of obstacles do to us. They kind of push us out of our comfort zone and force us to, if you kind of meet that challenge in a productive way, then you can kind of you can use that to advance, and that's the idea of the chariot. If you can learn to harness those two horses, then that chariot's driving forward full speed. Um, so I don't know if that helps or if it just murkies the waters a bit, but I suppose it's some stuff to think about with with the coins, the earth suit. Um, let's see. I'm not as quick to respond, sorry everyone, but I think this live and the interaction here is wonderful. So thank you all for being here. I'm enjoying reading your personal opinions, or your opinions you've just said. Thank you very much, Cheyenne. I'm glad that you're enjoying it, and it's lovely to have you here to join in. The Seven of Pentacles is about being patient and waiting for a reward. So for many, that's difficult. It's the waiting, the waiting, Tom Petty. Uh, Robin says, thanks, Chris. I see what you mean by the Seven of Pentacles. Instead of pride of harvest, it could be disappointment there's not more, or that it's not ready to harvest yet. Yeah, yeah. And like with what I've just said in mind, when you then look at the Seven of Discs, oh, I thought these were in order. Let's see, they kind of are in a weird order. We go from we go 5, 6, and then 8. Nice. Um, sorry, I'd rather actually put them on the screen and talk about them rather than talking about him behind his back. Oh, come on, where are you? Bear with. I can put on background music whilst I'm doing this. Hang on, just a wee minute. Background music, right? Let's see what have we got. Acoustic cinematic. It's not very cinematic. Anyway, I don't. Hopefully, you can hear that. So, listen to that whilst I look for this card. Who's second from the front? Right, let's stop that now. Did you enjoy that? Right. So, see with everything that I've just said about the whole Golden Dawn situation in mind, look at this card again. Can you see? Could you find a way to read that as like, you know, what's a like nice concise phrase to say what I'm trying to say? It's like you're putting a lot of effort into something and you're getting very little reward. It's like a thankless task type thing. Um, but I mean, it looks as though he's like kind of overworked. It looks as though he's been working hard. Then it looks as though he's maybe just a wee bit fed up. And maybe this one coin that's at his feet is he's that's the reward that he's managed to reap, and everything else is still on the, is still growing, still needs more time. So he's put in all this work, and he's maybe just a wee bit fed up. See the way he's kind of a stopped, and he's kind of a leaning on his hoe, as it very much were. Um, so it it's interesting to think about. Um, let me find my way back. So, Seven of Pentacles reversed, perhaps, says Tony. Um, I wondered about the Nine of Wands. This person has been hurt and looks on guard. The journaling in the tarot book asks, what role does jealousy play in your life? Heather says, just let me know. I'll work you into my schedule. Right, okay. I'll make it a point to email you. I'm back at work on Monday, so if I've not emailed you before then, Heather, then give me into trouble. Give me into big trouble. Um, see, I tend to see it as having so much work sometimes, and during the waiting, the plan doesn't always play out, or like tricky timing, and then the Eight of Pence is pulling it together and perfecting. Yeah, I can see that. Um, Yeah, Tony, reversed could mean that your waiting isn't worth it, or it's not going to reward you. Yep, I like this exercise. Maybe in future weeks you could present one word cues for us to relate cards. Well, that's the idea, Robin. Um, that's that's what I think would be quite good. Quite a good talking point for us. Um, this kind of it's turning it on its head, isn't it? Rather than looking at the cards and taking meaning from the cards, it's starting with the meaning and working our way back. And it might actually, like broaden our reading. It might like give a bit more depth to our readings and stuff, and just expand our tarot vocabulary, I guess. Um, so that's the idea. So each week we'll kind of a look at a particular, whether it's a scenario or an emotion or whatever it could be, just some sort of concept, and think, right, how would the tarot depict this to us? And we can have a wee conversation about it. So if that's something that you guys are up for, then I'm definitely up for that as well. Heather, avoid reversals. There's so much to remember upright. I'll pull extra cards for a fuller reading. I mostly am the same, Heather. I don't really mind reversals from kind of a thinking about, right, what does this card mean? I think I can usually think about what the card means in a reverse position, but that's only looking at the intellectual side of reading. The right, well, this card means this, and this card means that, and that means that. But there's another thing like that I like to do when I'm reading is right, how do the and this was that I mean, this comes from, the Queen of Tarot herself, Rachel Pollock. Um, how do the pictures interact with each other? So if you're pulling three cards, how does the story progress? I mean, your picture's upside down. I think it's quite difficult to have that being a continuous picture. Um, and even more so, like even if you wear it, I don't know how you would like how would it be different than if the picture was just turned the right way up? Do you know what I mean? I know how like meaning wise and intellectually looking at the meaning, it would be different. But from a kind of a intuitively looking at the images in front of you and looking at the story that's being told, I don't know what adds to that. And that for me is an important part of the reading process. So that's why I tend not to deliberately put reversals into my deck. But um, if something does happen to come out reversed, then I'll usually read it reversed. That makes sense. I often tell people with Seven Pentacles, don't hesitate once you know the timing is right. Yeah, it's a definitely the timing is a good kind of a thing to take from the Seven of Pence, I think. Agree with Robin. With so many words, we could do this exercise for a long time. It's very educational. Yep, absolutely. Um, I also wonder if the winner and the Five of Swords was jealous of the others and that motivated them to the point that we see in the card. Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And five is that. It's a kind of a there's upheaval in five, there's instability in five, so you can definitely see it as being that as being in that realm. Um let's see, Tony says, did you all see the wee flash of excited geek when Chris remembered that he could play music? Yeah. Well, I'm an nerd. Um Let's see, such a build up to a car. I know, I'm sorry. I've got a flair for the dramatic, Robin, much like your good self. In the end, though, it's how the image resonates with us and speaks to us, creating that personal bond with the cards and their images. Intuition is integral, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's what I was saying as well. Um, exasperated. He looks a bit exasperated and perhaps careworn. Yeah, yeah, that the Seven of Pentacles guy. The one at his feet could be partially rotted. That's the way that I might repaint it. Did he harvest or did it fall off the vine? He's not smiling. He's not smiling, thoughtful, prideful, or disappointed. Beth says, so true, Diane. Like the Seven of Pence, you're kind of passively hoping something will happen, but in the Eight of Pentacles, you take things into your own hands. Yeah. Cheyenne, or even what he receives is the smallest payout, and what he's potentially looking for is someone else's harvest, and so there's the jealousy. Uh, but that's a reach, and you'd need more context, I think. Yeah, I agree. That's the thing about tarot, isn't it? Like I think Kelly Fitzgerald has said, and Robin, I know you've said this a couple of times, is every single card. Like you can come to the tarot with a particular situation, every single card has something that they can tell you about that situation, and we could probably have this conversation, and we could, we could make a case for pretty much any card being linked to that. Um, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like, as when I was thinking about this earlier this morning, um I pulled from the deck. In fact, it was this the don't know if anyone's seen my walkthrough of this, the Dreamy Moons Tarot. It was this deck that I used. It was the star card that I pulled, and I was like, how can the star card, like, how does that make sense? Here it's here because this was what I pulled, um, and I was like, well, and much like you've just said, it is reaching, and it's that kind of a way where you're just reading what you want from it, but the star is a response to a difficult situation. It's a response to the tower. I always think of the star and the tower as being paired. The star is what comes after the tower. The tower is, that ripping down, that chaotic energy, things being blown apart. And then the star is the kind of the response to that. And usually we think it's the healing. We think of it as the healing energy, the hope. The idea that after all of that shit going down, things might not be so bad. um, that's traditionally how we look at the star. But think about how, like, so see when we've had tower moments, right? I know I've certainly had tower moments in my life, and I'm sure everyone else will have. Think about your immediate response and that to that tower moment and how you felt after it. Even like, I mean, I know that there's certainly been times when I've been like my first response isn't to look for hope or look for a star or look for that kind of a healing guide and energy. My first response is probably like quite, I mean, and sometimes maybe quite toxic. I know there's definitely been times where, like, if things have gone like, if shit's hit the fan, sometimes I'll compare myself to other people and think, well, how come that didn't happen to them? I've worked just as hard as them, if not harder. Um, and yet they get everything they want, you know? So that's a jealous response. That's jealousy. And it's as a result of something that's happened. It's as a result of a tough situation, as a result of a tower moment. Um, so, and in the same way, the star does depict that response to the tower moment. So I made a case for the star could be, or it could start with jealousy, and then hopefully you'd like to think that it would develop into a more healthy response, but that immediate response could well be jealousy. Now, maybe jealousy is more still in the tower realm than it is into the star realm, but it's that response. Um, so yeah, that was what the tarot had to say about it. Like when I asked, like what card would depict jealousy, the star came up. Marita, hi Marita. Sorry I'm late. But if I get the gist, isn't the devil a jealousy card? Yeah. So we talked about how jealousy is kind of a link to attachment, unhealthy attachment, and definitely the devil was kind of a your man for that. Um, but we've just been having a chat about different ways that the tarot might depict that. Um, Love, your awareness and ability to bring expansion of mind into the collective arena. Thank you, Tony. Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you very much. Um, I agree, Chris. That's why I don't read reversals, as you lose the interactions between the cards, says Patsy. Yeah. Pamela, I just started contemplating the reversal meanings so that I get a big picture, including the pitfalls. Okay. I think he's hoping all his hard work will work out in time, waiting to find out. Okay. Robin says, hey, Chris, pull a random card and see how we can relate it, if at all, to the theme of jealousy. Right, okay, so I suppose that, sorry, Robin, I never saw that before I talked about my exercise this morning. So yeah, the star was your random card. So what does anyone have any other thoughts on that? Um, People are jealous of stars all the time, says Marita. Yeah, absolutely. The star could make me think of seeing people that seem to have it all, the jealousy aspect, but you don't know the tower they've just had to walk away from. That's it. That's it exactly. And when I was talking about how, when I've had tower moments in the past, and sometimes maybe not immediate, but one of my initial responses is to look at someone else and say, oh, well, they get it all. How come I don't? I don't fucking know that they get it all. Do you know what I mean? I don't know the first thing. I don't know what shit they have to go through. Um, but it's that, it's there's and that's why when I talk about it, there is a kind of poisonous, kind of a toxic, like, side to it, because it does make you kind of a think in a way that you might not normally think. I like to think that I'm normally quite an open and, you know, um, like, a non-judgmental person. I try not to be judgmental, but in that moment, I know that I've definitely been judgmental, that way. Um, so yeah, it definitely warps your senses and stuff like that. For sure, Marita, that's what I was thinking. That's why people go on the attack so quickly. It's like toxic social media. I agree. Social media can get really ugly really quick. Yeah. Which deck is that? Shining Star. So Robin, this is the Dream Eight Moons Tarot. I recorded a walkthrough of it just through the week. Right, I'm going to be totally honest and upfront here, right? I've realized something about my walkthroughs. So my card flip through is about 5 minutes long. I've put it in chapters, by the way. So see, if you just want to see the flip through the cards, then you can just go to that chapter and just watch the flip through, and you don't really need to see anything else. If you want, it's all in chapters. So if you want to find out about the book, you can go to that chapter as well. If you want to find out about the box and the cardstock and stuff, there's that. If you want to see the sample reading at the end, I've done a sample reading, then that's there as well, and you can go to that. But what I've realized is that sample reading was like 13 minutes long, and it's what took my video to almost half an hour. If I hadn't put that sample reading in, my video would have been less than 20 minutes. And I'm like, well, would have been as well just, what do we think about this? Because I don't really know if the sample reading is adding much. I don't know whether my walkthroughs would be better if I maybe just lay out some cards and let people see how they look in a spread, but didn't actually start, interpreting them all. Because I'll be honest, I didn't feel as though the sample reading really added all that much to that video. But I mean, if just one person gets something out of it, then I'm, that's a win for me. Uh, oh, thank you, Deanne. Dreamy Moons, it's on Etsy. Yeah, I got it. So I went to a Gothic fair on Sunday, and there was a tarot stand, and it was fantastic. Like, I say this in the video as well, but the 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 woman that was there, I've linked her Instagram and her website on my video. Um, but she sells indie decks, and she's based in Glasgow, which is where I'm from. How great is that? I didn't even know about her before. But at her stand, she had a bunch of indie tarot decks, and for every single deck, she had an open one that you could look through the cards. Um, I just heard something falling. I can't see because the light's off in there. Oh, I'm sure it's fine. Um, so yeah, she had an open copy of each deck, so you could look through it, you could look at the cards, and you could actually make an informed decision about whether you want the deck. I know that we have that in like YouTube videos and stuff, but it was good because, like, when I'm browsing in, like, Waterstones or whatever, you don't have an open copy of the deck that you can look through. So I thought it was fantastic. I thought she was fantastic. She was really friendly. The decks were, really good prices and stuff. Um, yeah, I just really enjoyed. Uh, I really enjoyed the experience. I got some art as well, but that's downstairs. Maybe I'll show that next week if you remind me. Uh, Celebrity can be a tower moment in and of itself. Okay, yeah. Um, Banks have a couple of others that look similar, metallic or like satin. Right, okay, okay. It's great to have your sample readings, says Deanne. Right, okay, okay. Your normal life has crumbled. Small sample reading or a couple of three card layouts to let them see them in a spread. Right, okay. C. McMillan says I like sample readings. I think most people like to see how it reads. And you do. Oh, thank you. Right, okay, okay. I suppose. I mean, I guess if people don't want to watch that, they don't have to. They can just watch the flip through. Um, so I suppose I'm not. It doesn't take anything away from the video when I add it in. So yeah, if a couple of yous are getting something out of it, then maybe I'll leave it in. Uh, Heather has to run. This was insightful. Talk to you soon, Chris. Have a great night. Yeah, I'll email you and we'll set something up, Heather. Uh, to cover is when you want what someone else has. Jealousy is when you don't want someone else to have what they've been given from the dictionary. Interesting, right? Okay. Nice. Okay, I like that. So it's the difference between coveting and being jealous. That's interesting. Um, I think of Nine of Pentacles when you say covet. That's really good with the open cards. Yeah, it was. I was really impressed. I hate that about shops. I still don't feel comfy standing in a shop and viewing a flip through on my phone whilst deciding what to buy. Yeah, I'm the same, Robin. I don't like it either. I don't mind having a quick look to check if something is a lot cheaper online. Um, like I'll sometimes do that because, like, for example, the other day I was in Forbidden Planet, which is a kind of a like a nerd store here. It's kind of a sells comics and statues of like sci-fi stuff, Star Wars stuff. It sells like replica lightsabers and all that kind of stuff. Um, but it's had a couple of tarot decks on the shelf, and it was selling. Have any of you seen the Black Tarot? I forget who the creator is. Let me quickly look it up. The Black Tarot, just so you know what one I'm talking about. This is it. The Black Tarot, an ancestral awakening deck and guidebook, um, by Nyasha Williams is the author, and Kamishka Naidu is the illustrator. Hopefully, my pronunciation wasn't too bad there. Um, yeah, I saw that on the shelf, but it's like £6 cheaper online. So I thought, right, I'm not going to get it now. I didn't get it out of Forbidden Planet. Um, but yeah, that's something I don't mind doing that quickly on my phone. But I'm like you. I don't really enjoy doing having to do a full flip through and see the cards on my phone when I'm deciding what to buy. Um, it's good for the vendor too, Robin. No one likes returns. That's how I see it, says Beth. Yep. Um, if the sample is at the end, then if people do need or want sample is at the end, then if people don't need or want that, then they can leave. Yeah, yeah. Hold on a minute, phone a tarot friend. Excuse me. Oh shit, just set my toast on fire. Was full on flames. Oh geez, that's not good. Don't set your toast on fire. Have you still managed to eat it? Did you just scrape off some of the charcoal and still manage to eat it, or are you making some more toast? Uh, we have Forbidden Planet here too. I didn't know they had a chain expanding to Scotland. All right, okay, yeah. We have Forbidden Planet. Just threw my coffee everywhere except in my mouth. That was clever. Um, if I had a tarot shop, I'd be playing tarot tube in there. Just have it on the wall. Oh, that's so funny. Um, I think you should. We should open a tarot shop, Deanne. So we should. I know that it would require either me moving over to you or you moving over to me, but we can make that work. I said to Deanne actually just the other day, because I was messing. I know that Deanne is near, like, obviously there's the whole kind of a thing going on in Canada, with the air pollution, with the fires and stuff. So I messaged a couple of my friends, to make sure they're doing okay, basically, and Deanne being one of them, because Deanne's up the top of the states in Michigan. So I thought I'll check. Um, and I said to Deanne, I think that yous all just need to move over here. I've got a couple of spare rooms, so yous can just come and live here. And she's up for it. Looking up, getting your passport sorted, aren't you, Deanne? Um, Saska Art and Soul says hubby browses after sending me pics of the decks, and I look at reviews online for them from home. That's quite good. Um, yeah, it's definitely that's the funny thing, isn't it, about buying tarot decks? Sometimes I want to I think it depends on the price. If it's a higher price, then I want to properly research it and make sure that I'm going to gel with it as much as you possibly can, without working with it. But I want to make sure that I like the art. I'm going to gel with it. I'm actually going to use it and get my money's worth out of it, basically. But sometimes if it's like not that, if it's on the less expensive end of the spectrum, I'm quite happy just to kind of go for it, and think, "Oh, it'll be a wee surprise for me." I'll see how it feels when I get it. So, yeah, I chop and change. Flaming toast, yeah. Flames, flames. Gosh, I hope I'm laughing. I hope you're okay. I hope, like, you've managed to put the fire out and stuff. I'm taking it that you have, because I imagine you probably wouldn't still be telling us about it on YouTube. But, yeah. Make sure that make sure there's no more flames. Um, yes, let's do it. We'll come there. Yeah, we should. We totally should. We'd have such a good wee shop. It could be like a wee coffee shop slash tarot shop slash nerd shop too. Maybe the boys could, Ryan could um sell some guitars. Sandy could do. Sandy's a lovely cook. Sandy could like make some like wee light lunches and stuff. Oh, we can get a business plan in place, Deanne. We could totally do this. Um, that would be great. You'd have a playlist of all the decks that you carry. Interesting, Beth. An old language, um, aka Seven Deadly Sins and Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not covet seems to be linked directly to jealousy. Yeah, yeah. Don't move, because then you can get the UK decks and send them bulk to your shop in the US. Just Zoom, Chris and Deanne. I love this idea for you too. That was part of my pipe dream. A communal house where a bunch lived on upper floors and downstairs was a combo cafe gallery tarot shop and a study meeting group who's in. Do you know, I was kind of a just not just half-heartedly, I was Googling maybe last week to see if there was any kind of a tarot meetup type things. Because Sandy, I think I've told you before, Sandy started playing, the Pokemon trading card game, and he has like a wee thing that he goes to on a Friday evening now, where they play. They go to it's a shop in town, um, but they have a big area set up for people to play card games, and they play the Pokemon trading card game. And I was like, that'd be great if they did like if someone did like a tarot meetup thing like that. Like that would be so amazing. Actually being able to interact with people in person and play with cards, sling cards with people. It would be such a cool like thing to do, I think. Um, what other ingredients would I need for that curse? What for flaming toast? Marmite. Um, your trips to the US would be tax deductible for business, Chris, says Beth. Love it. Love it. Beth, yeah, Beth is definitely thinking big picture. That's an awesome dream. That would be so cool, says Cheyenne, loving the dream. My moon is in Capricorn, Deanne. I need to go business strategy ASAP. uh, Tarot Cafe, fab idea. We're all loving this idea. I agree. If not too expensive, I'll take a punt on the deck. Yeah, the for if it's not too expensive. Yep. Tony says everything just seems to be £100. It's the new £50. Yeah. Well, can I tell you? So I got this. It's normally £50 when you look at her shop online. It's normally £50, but I got it for 45. So I think she was selling stuff with a slight discount at the event, which was another amazing thing about it. So I agree, but this is definitely a very big kind of a exception. Abandon tea and turns grill off, eating dry crust till you've finished your life. There's dedication. Um, but covet is to want your neighbour's wife, not to want your neighbour not to have a wife. Yeah, I know. I mean, like that. This could be a whole different topic of conversation, but do we not feel a wee bit icky about the fact that the Ten Commandments put women on par with like animals and property? As I don't know. I'll be honest. I raised a Catholic, so I should, but I don't know all of my Ten Commandments off by heart. But I know there's like thou shalt not covet thy neighbour's wife, but is another one like not thou shalt not covet thy neighbour's like livestock or property or something like that? Like, what is that all about? Why is it that anyway, that's just a random tangential thought, which, is probably for another time. There's actually a board game cafe across the street from me called The Uncommons, but they don't sell tarot. Yeah, neither does this one, Robin. Um, but it would be pretty cool. They don't teach it that way when you're 7 years old, though, Beth. Um, Meet up, coffee, and sling cards would be fab. Yeah. Old Testament is barbaric, says Robert. Um, Nothing much depth in religion when you're. Well, if you want your neighbour's wife, then you want uh, him not to have her at the same time. Yeah, because women were legally property, way beyond the Bible. It also says we shall not eat shellfish and wear clothes of a certain fibre. Yeah, mixed fibres, I think it was. You weren't allowed to wear clothes that were the fibres mixed. So yeah, any synthetic fibres. But I think Jonathan was starting up a gaming night, says Tony. That would be cool. Oh, where are we for time? We're on 10:30. I know I normally do readings, but I've actually really enjoyed the conversation tonight. I feel as though it's flowed really well, and I've definitely learned a lot from it. So just wanted to say thank you so much to all of you guys for that. Does anyone want a reading? I have, as I said, I've got the Queer Tarot out. Well, I'm now surrounded by a few decks, but I was intending to do some readings with the Queer Tarot. If anyone's got a particular question, but you know, don't worry about it if you don't. Um, Tarot Cafe would be amazing. I would say it's still happening today. Uh, Too restrictive. Throughout history, women have been treated as chattels. Yep. Robin says this was fun. Uh, Robin asks, "Is this your Pride Month?" Yeah, it is, Robin. So happy Pride. Topic for next week so we can do homework, says Tony. Oh, I've not thought of it yet. So this week I just posted it. I posted it this morning in the Barely Balanced Tarot group. Um, so yeah, I'll probably just do something similar. Either on Thursday morning or maybe I'll do it a wee bit early in the week if you prepare a wee bit more time. But we'll decide closer to the time what we'll be looking at next week. But I'll just post it in the Barely Balance group again. I can post it in my YouTube community page as well. If if there's anyone who's not in the Barely Balanced Tarot group on Facebook, there's also my Instagram. I can post it on there if you would like. Um, and that way we can, everyone has an idea of what we'll be talking about. Right, no questions. So what I'll do is I'll pull for the collective and then we can call it an evening. But again, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who's here. Um, we've got a very important question here. Do you see non-burnt toast in my future? Nah, you've got the Ace of Wands, you've got the root of the power of fire, so no, not really. You need to be careful. You need to be careful how you're harnessing that fire. The Ace of Wands is the potential of all fire, so it could either go really right or it could go really wrong. So you need to keep your eye on that toaster or that grill, whatever it is that you're using to cook your toast. Um, yeah, sorry, but burn. Oh dear. Robin says, with all the anti-trans governmental stuff going on, how's Pride Month looking? Yeah, yeah, don't get me started on that. I can only imagine how it must feel to be a trans person and to click into Facebook. To be honest with you, it's disgusting how we can be in this place where so many people are posting such toxic content. And I know that everyone's got the right to discuss things and to ask questions and things like that, but I think sometimes we've got to ask ourselves, am I or is that person posting because they want to have a productive, good conversation, or are they posting to be toxic or to be, just to sling mud and to stir the pot, Are they wanting to be uplifting or are they wanting to drag people down? And unfortunately, I feel right now as though a lot of people, it's the latter. And it's really sad. It's sad for me just, as one human to another, but like I say, I can only imagine how it must feel to be a trans person and to have to go onto social media and see all that bullshit. Um, anyway. Sorry, that was my 2 cents worth on that. So, let's just, how's trans, month looking? Lots of swords. Sorry, I'll turn on the table cam so you can see this. Oh, I'll also turn on the torch. So we've got the Knight of Swords, the King of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. So, I mean, I think that potentially, like the Knight of Swords to me is that keyboard warrior type energy. It's the intellectual side of it. Um, I feel as though when I'm saying I can only imagine how some people must feel. And when I'm saying like, I'm all for having a productive conversation, but is it productive? Is that what people want to do? Sometimes I feel as though they use that as a bit of a cop out for posting toxic content. Um, and that might be what we're seeing a wee bit here with the Knight and the King of Swords. So I don't think that there's going to be an end to these types of things anytime soon. Um, but like, moving towards the last card is the Wheel of Fortune. So that does show that, the wheel turns around. We always go through these cycles. I'm probably too young to fully appreciate what it was like for gay people back in like times like the 80s and even before. But I imagine for those that have seen that, you're probably just seeing cycles repeat themselves. Um, so I'm hoping that it is the situation where, the wheel turns and things move on, minds and hearts change, and we become more open as a society to different types of people. Um, I sincerely hope with all my heart that that's what happens, and it does look quite promising, but I feel as though we've got a ways to go before we get there. Um, Sorry, Robin, you did ask just about Pride Month, but um, that was how I saw those cards. Okay. YouTube, the algorithms are sort of across social media is shocking. I don't seem to get anything these days other than pushed content. Um, I like dark toast, but flaming is a bit too well done, says Laurie. Yeah, I agree. Well, I don't like dark toast. I actually like, I take my toast as basically like hot bread. So it's bread that's slightly crispy. So I'm not a big fan of dark toast. Um, People are heading and saying bye. Elliot Page was on the View the other day pushing his new book. I've been watching Umbrella Academy. I've started watching Umbrella Academy, but I can't seem to get past the first season. In fact, I think I've only seen the first few episodes. Can't seem to push myself past it. They should teach Stonewall in schools, then people would understand the real roots of pride marches. Yep, absolutely. Barbaric and Cruel. Reminder to self to order that from a Kindle. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, chatmates, for the company, the vibes, and your thoughts. I keep saying it until someone hears me. You cannot legislate biology, says Marita. I recently got the Kindle Scribe. In the 70s, we hit sexual freedom, then a whammy in the 80s with AIDS. Of course, the wheel kept turning and we got marriage rights, but it took a while. Yeah. Uh, them cards are thick to shuffle in that deck. Yeah, they are, Robert. I was saying that at the start. It's an absolute beast. See, trying to riffle shuffle it, if you're a riffle shuffler, it can be quite taxing on your hands. It's doable, but you know, it requires like a lot of grip strength. Now I want cinnamon toast. I used to have toast with Chris and Simon's Lives. I usually have toast with Chris and Simon's Lives, says Laurie. Um, this has been great. I haven't typed much, but enjoying reading the comments and listening. Thank you, Red Wing. It's been lovely having you here. We call that floppy toast in my house. Well, that's how I like my toast then, apparently. Right, guys, before I love you and leave you, I'm going to pull a card for everyone. We've got the Nine of Cups. This is a difficult card for me because the Nine of Cups, when I think about it, it's about your cup runneth over type energy. It's about like being emotionally gratified and fulfilled. The nine is the card of kind of a coming to an end point of completion and things like that, and cups is the water suit. So we think about being, emotionally satisfied, whatever that looks like for you. But there's just something that I can't help but look at this card and I mean, he's not as smug as the John Travolta and the traditional Rider-Waite Smith, but there's still something a wee bit smug about just the way that these cups are set up on the almost looks like they're set up on a mantelpiece behind him, and he's displaying them, and just his body language, the way his arms are crossed, it's like he's keeping people back. So there is an achievement there, but it's like, is he keeping people? Is he keeping a distance between him and people? I mean, I guess that could well be just like what I'm doing here because there is naturally a barrier between me and you, like all of the people that I'm speaking to. Doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. I think it's great that YouTube puts us in this position where we can connect like this. But there is definitely that barrier there, which has maybe been symbolised here by the crossed arms. But definitely, I'm feeling the emotional fulfillment. It's great being able to connect and exchange ideas and stuff. So, um, yeah, this could well just and be embodying the energy of this live. So anyway, Nine of Cups, that's our card for the weekend. We would call burnt toast in our house burnt offerings, says Robert. I like mine golden brown, says Marita. I read your comment wrong and thought you were having a vampire moment. I figured it out. You were not eating them. No, thankfully. Um, my mother-in-law bought me a plaque that said, "When the smoke alarm goes off, tea is ready." We used to say that about my mum, that she likes to cremate her food. She loves her food, like, well done, well cooked. Anyone else enjoy milk toast? Toast with butter and sugar and a warm bowl of milk and a bowl of warm milk. I've never tried that, Robin. Um, love the backs of that deck. I'm a sucker for a nice back. Yeah, me too. They are quite nice. The deck is very kind of definitely has a psychedelic feel to it. This actually is another deck that me and Simon have done a joint walkthrough of. Um, so check that out if you fancy seeing more about the deck. We had that without the butter as kids. I still eat it sometimes, says Laurie. It looks like a pride card, says Robin. Yeah. Right, guys, I'm going to love yous and leave yous. I hope that you all have an amazing weekend if I don't speak to you or see you. Take care, and I shall hopefully see you all next week. Bye bye.